Today I'm making brunch. The centerpiece will be shakshuka. Now, shakshuka is the darling of brunch places all over, and it is that North African egg dish where you have that fragrant tomato pepper sauce. And I'm gonna do a riff on it. I'm gonna swap out the peppers and the tomatoes for chard and spinach. So it's a green shakshuka. So we're using a ton of chard and spinach and a few green peas. And when I mean a ton of chard, I mean 2 pounds, which is about 4 bunches. Now, this is beautiful green chard. I like using the green chard here with the white stems because I find the red stems make the dish look a little muddy, but you could use either. Now, I've washed all this chard already, and what you want to do is you want to separate the stems and the leaves. And the easiest way to do that is to hold it up. A couple ways to do it. This is how I like to do it. Hold up the leaf and sort of whack at it like your knife is a sword to really cut the leaf away from the stem. All right, so I'm gonna set the stems aside. We are gonna use some of them in the dish. And now for these gorgeous big leaves, we're just gonna chop them into big pieces. So that's just cutting these leaves lengthwise, just strips. And then I'm gonna slice them crosswise into a nice chop. You don't have to worry too much about how finely you cut these leaves. They're gonna wilt down as this cooks. All right. So there are all the chard. I know it looks like a lot, but it's gonna wilt down as it cooks. All right, so I mentioned we're gonna use some of the stems. We're gonna use about a cup of the stems. So what I'm gonna do is cut off the ends. And I'm gonna cut it like a wooden onion, nice and fine. Don't worry, I'm not gonna get rid of the rest of those stems from the rest of the chard. I chop them up and I put them in the freezer, and then I saute them in the morning when I make scrambled eggs. Nice way to get the vegetables in, and it's nice not to waste such a good vegetable. So I'm just cutting the stems down into more manageable pieces. Now we're just gonna chop them finely. All right, that's about a cup of chard stems. Now we're gonna add to this 1 onion. Now you want a nice large onion here. Cut the tip end, cut it in half through the root end. That's when I peel it, it's just easier. And again, you want to chop the onion fine, about the same size as the chard stems. All right, so that's an onion and a cup of chard stems. They're all gonna go into the pot together, so might as well put them together in the bowl. All right, now it's time to get cooking. And now we're gonna use a nice big pot because that's a lot of greens that need to wilt down. You need the headroom for it. So to the pot, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna heat this up over medium heat. All right, so the olive oil is shimmering. Time to add the chard stems and the onion. Now we're also gonna add the salt, 3/4 teaspoon of table salt. Oh, that looks good. Now these are gonna take about 5 minutes to get nice and softened. All right, so while those onions and chard stems are cooking, time to focus on the spinach. Now this is a whopping 11 ounces of spinach, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but it wilts down to nothing. And believe it or not, it comes in 11-ounce packages, so that's actually pretty efficient. Now it's baby spinach, it's gonna wilt down pretty fine. Just wanna run your knife through it really quickly. Give it a quick chop. That way you won't get any stringy bits. Just like to spread the spinach out over the entire cutting board, and then just you can slowly run your knife through it from one side to the other. That's why I like big cutting boards. That looks pretty good. Back into the bowl it goes. That'll just make it easy to add it to the pot. All right, let's check on those onions. The onions and stems are looking good. They're softened, lightly browned, which is perfect. Next up, some garlic. You want about 4 cloves. I just use the garlic press. Press it right into the pot. And some ground coriander. That's 2 teaspoons of ground coriander. And you just want to cook that for about a minute or so until it smells nice and fragrant. Oh, it smells good. All right, now all the greens go in. So in goes all the chard. I know, it looks like a lot. It'll cook down. It's a full pot, let me tell you. All the spinach. All right. That's why you need a nice big pot right there. Okay, now we're gonna crank the heat to medium high, put the lid on, and let it cook for about 5 minutes until it wilts down. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. Oh, you can see those greens have really wilted down and it smells incredible. All right, so turning off the heat. So now we're gonna take about a cup of this mixture and put it into a blender because we're gonna make a sauce. It's nice to have a bit of sauce and a bit of the solids in the final dish. So that's about a cup. To this, we're gonna add half a cup of chicken broth. Although if you wanted to use vegetable broth, that would work well too. Onto the blender it goes until it's nice and smooth. Oh, there we go, nice and smooth. I love this color. Oh, this color is everything. All right, so back into the pot this puree goes. Really scraping the bottom of the blender jar, trying to get every last bit out. Just gonna stir this together. Now we're gonna add a cup of frozen peas. And there's no need to thaw those peas ahead of time. They'll thaw really quickly right in the pot. And a little bit of lemon juice. That's 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now it's time to poach the eggs in this mixture. But I want to point out that the eggs, once you add them to the pot, the timer's ticking. So this is a good point where you can hold off a little bit, wait for everyone to get around the table before you start cooking the eggs. It'll hold like this for about half an hour. Time to poach the eggs in the shakshuka. So what you want to do, take a large spoon, and you want to make 4 indentations. We're cooking 8 eggs, 2 eggs per indentation. So you press down into the shakshuka mixture. You want to do it evenly around the pot, obviously. And the heat's off at this point. And now we're going to add the eggs to each indentation. All right, so the eggs are in the pan, and there's one trick I've learned over the years, and this isn't in the recipe, this is just my little tip, is if you spoon some of the shakshuka over the top of the whites on top, it just helps them cook a bit more evenly. So leave the yolks exposed, but just try to cover up the whites a bit. All right, that looks good. Now we're gonna season them with some salt. And a little bit of Aleppo pepper, which has a spicy, fruity flavor. You want about half a teaspoon. If you don't have Aleppo pepper in your pantry, time to pick some up because it just adds a little zing to eggs, a little fruity zing. It's just delicious. All right, those eggs are ready to cook. On goes the lid, medium-low heat. They're gonna take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. I love a good runny yolk, so that's more on the 5-minute side. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video. And if you're hungry for more, check out Cook's Country magazine. It's everything you love about the Cook's Country TV show, packed between the pages of our award-winning magazine. Each issue features classic recipes, unbiased product reviews, and time-saving tips. Subscribe now and continue your culinary journey with Cook's Country magazine. Those eggs have been cooking for about 5 minutes. Oh, and they're underdone, which is perfect. Just the edges of the eggs have begun to turn white. So now I'm gonna turn the heat off, leave the lid on, push it off heat, and let the eggs finish cooking on their own off heat, which takes about 2 to 4 minutes. All right, back over to the eggs. They are perfect. The whites are just set, but the yolks, I can tell they're a little runny. Now to finish the shakshuka, we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of feta over the top. It's about half a cup of crumbled feta. Oh. And then we're gonna add a little bit of chopped dill. It's about 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh dill. And 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh mint. Oh. And a little fresh olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. Right over the top. Man, this is gonna taste good. All right, time to serve up. Oh, I could eat my own weight in this. Now look at this egg yolk. Oh, I love how it does that. It just makes its own sauce. Oh, those are my favorite flavors, the chard and spinach. With the eggs, I eat chard and spinach for breakfast most often. On special occasions, I ramp it up to this shakshuka. A little bit of feta. This is the Brunch Champions. See you next time. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website.